Knowing what I know about running a company, I wouldn't wish that task on anyone. There are times when people can't find employment and starting a company seems like the best solution, but the odds are against success. 9 out of 10 companies fail in 5 years. Of those that survive the first 5 years, 9 out of every 10 of those eventually fail as well. Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody is doing really, really well. Milana is in the waiting room, so we'll just let him in. And I just need to make sure that I pin myself. Here we go. Done. Okay. So last night was really exciting because last night we ended up having our cash flow game. And that obviously puts me into a really, really excited mood to read Rich Dad, Poor Dad for you. There we go. I found a way to do it on Zoom because the book actually disappears because I've got a background. But if you're on Bigo, you can just see the book outright, nice and easy. It's all good. Okay, so we are in chapter 3 by this stage. We are in the second part of chapter 3. Chapter 3 is Mind Your Own Business. And we started off with the rich focus on their asset columns while everybody else focuses on their income statements. We had a little bit about Ray Kroc and what kind of business he's really in. If you missed that part of the chapter, it is extremely good. And you can watch the replay on YouTube. And at the end, I will share how you can get access to the other readings that you might have missed. But for now, let's get into it. Time is money. We have things to do today, I'm sure, goals to achieve. So let's do some reading to start the day off in the right way. For years, even while I was with the Marine Corps and Xerox, I did what my rich dad recommended. I kept my day job, but I still minded my own business. I was active in my asset column trading real estate and small stocks. Rich Dad always stressed the importance of financial literacy. The better I was at understanding the accounting and cash management, the better I would be at analyzing investments and eventually starting and building my own company. I don't encourage anyone to start a company unless they really want to. I had to talk about this yesterday in yesterday's reading, that you should only start a company if you want to. There is nothing wrong with having a job. There is nothing wrong with deciding what is good for you and what you feel comfortable with. But if business is something that you'd like to do, it has some great advantages over the others. But we need people who are working on things. We need people to make things. We need people to pick up the garbage. We need all sorts of people. So there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. If everybody started a business, there'd be no employees. I wouldn't, knowing what I know about running a company, I wouldn't wish that task on anyone. There are times when people can't find employment and starting a company seems like the best solution, but the odds are against success. 9 out of 10 companies fail in 5 years. Of those that survive the first 5, so only if you really have the desire to own your own company do I recommend it. Otherwise, keep your day job and mind your own business. When I say mind your own business, I mean to build and keep your asset column strong. Once a dollar goes into it, never let it come out. Think of it this way. Once a dollar goes into your asset column, it becomes your employee. The best thing about money is that it works 24 hours a day and can work for generations. Keep your day job, be a great hardworking employee, but keep building that asset column. And the important thing around that is if you keep it in there, eventually it will earn you more than your expenses. So yes, at the beginning, it's very tempting to take money out. But if you just keep putting money in and leave it there, then the money that it has made will add to it and it will grow faster and faster and faster. It will grow on an exponential curve. As your cash flow grows, you can indulge in some luxuries. An important distinction is that rich people buy luxuries last, while the poor and middle class tend to buy luxuries first. The poor and the middle class often buy luxury items like big houses, diamonds, furs, jewelry, or boats because they want to look rich. They look rich, but in reality, they just get deeper in debt on credit. The old money people, the long-term rich, build their asset column first. Then the income generated from the asset column buys their luxuries. The poor and middle class buy luxuries with their own sweat, blood, and children's inheritance. That's a story for another day, though, because some people feel you should leave an inheritance and some don't. It's a very mixed feeling on that one. I suppose it depends on what it does to the children. Some children embrace it and say, I'm going to turn it into more. And some children embrace it and go, ooh, time to start spending. And they just spend it all and don't really get anything out of it. A true luxury is a reward for investing in and developing a real asset. For example, when my wife Kim and I had extra money coming from our apartment houses, she went out and bought her Mercedes. It didn't take any extra work or risk on her part because the apartment house bought the car. She did, however, have to wait 4 years while the real estate investment portfolio grew and began generating enough cash flow for the car. But the luxury, the Mercedes, was a true reward because she proved she knew how to grow her asset column. That car now means a lot more to her than simply another pretty car. It means she used her financial intelligence to afford it. Instead, most people impulsively go out and buy a new car or some other luxury on credit. They may feel bored and just want a new toy. Buying a luxury on credit often causes a person to eventually resent that luxury because the debt becomes a financial burden. And you see this a lot. People who feel that they need something and then they go out and get it, but they can't really afford it. And then they have to work harder. They have to work over hours. They have to do all these extra things. And they actually start to dislike the thing that they bought, which is causing them all of this financial stress and pain. So be very careful to avoid that one. Very often the things that we want end up being the things that we really, really hate for that reason. After you've taken the time and invested in and built your own business, you are now ready to learn the biggest secret of the rich, the secret that puts the rich way ahead of the pack. And that is the end of chapter 3. Chapter 4 is going to be the history of taxes and the power of corporations. But a very quick note, and that is that when it comes to chapter 3, especially that ending part, it is so super important to do what I was talking about earlier, where you have to detach your brain from your emotions. Your emotions will automatically just send you down this path of doing what you think you need to do. And it's going to be following the crowd, following the herd. We feel a certain emotion, we want something, we go out and get it, regardless of whether we can afford it or not. We haven't learned that there is another way of doing it, namely creating assets and having money coming in that will allow us to buy it. So, for example, let's take Kim Kiyosaki's car. Robert Kiyosaki also tells a story, I'm not sure if it's in Rich Dad Poor Dad or in a different book, and he talks about the fact that he wanted to buy something. So he purchased a property that would pay, I think in 1 year, it would pay him enough to be able to buy the asset. But imagine, or buy the toy that he wanted to get, the car. But imagine, after the first year, that asset has made him enough to be able to buy the car. Without having to work for it, that asset has just generated enough money for him to be able to buy the car. But he still has the asset. So unlike his job where he would still have to keep going to work every single day to be able to earn enough to be able to buy the car, now he has something that is generating, let's say that the car costs $60,000. So in 1 year, this asset generates $60,000. But the next year, he doesn't necessarily want another car, but his asset will still generate him an extra $60,000. So now, instead of having earned, let's say you have to earn about $200,000 to get the $60,000 car. Let's say he's earning $200,000 a year. He buys a $60,000 car. But now the year after, if anything happens to his job, he still has this asset that will pay him enough to be able to buy another car. And the year after, he'll earn another car. And the year after, he'll earn another car. And that's on top of whatever else he is doing, whether he has a job or whether he has other income from whatever else he might have from other real estate investments or from the stock market or from other businesses. So it's very important to be able to learn to discipline yourself. And a book that I would highly recommend is Habits by a gentleman called Charles Duhigg. And it's a potential that we might read it, or I might do a summary on it, because I'm going to also start doing book summaries that will allow you to be able to get the gist of certain books without having to read the whole thing. So I will give reviews and summaries on certain books. And that is one of the ones that I am thinking about doing, because if you control your habits, if you know how to set up good habits for yourself, then it becomes possible for you to put your money into things that will create passive income for you. Then you will have the discipline to put money into buying assets and leave it there and not touch it. And so if you can learn those skills, then you are going to be set for life. So it takes a little bit of discipline. It's really important to have the right people around you as well to be able to do that. So they are also disciplined, or they will be able to teach you things that are also going to save you time, save you energy, save you making mistakes, teach you how to save taxes, teach you smarter ways of investing. There's a couple of examples in the book that we already talked about, different ways of doing things. For example, rather than just using your income from your job that is not necessarily stable because you could lose it at any time. A lot of people saw that in the last 2 years. But if you are able to then set up separate things, then you are able to achieve success through that just by doing things in a slightly different way. So, as I said at the beginning, if you are interested in seeing the chapters that you have missed, you can go to YouTube. We are at the Passive Cash Flow Club. I would love to see you there. Make sure that you subscribe because we have the book reviews, and I've got a couple of other videos on the stock market that I'm about to put up, and I'm going to use chocolate as an analogy for those. I don't eat chocolate. I bought some chocolates for a demonstration that I did yesterday in the Cash Flow Club, where we played the online cash flow game, which is an amazing game. But before I get into that, make sure that you subscribe on YouTube. You'll be able to know when all the other videos come out. And I'd love to hear your comments on YouTube as well. Speaking of cash flow, if that is something that interests you, we had a great group of people yesterday who were very keen to learn and learned a lot and got a lot out of playing a game that simulates real life. And so they were able to see where they were making mistakes without losing actual money, since it's all play money. They were able to learn about different investment strategies, and we were able to have a great discussion on some of the things that they did and some of the patterns that they have and how to break those patterns. So if that's something that you're also interested in, you can find me on Instagram and reach out and message me privately. You can also see my Instagram posts, of course, but you can message me directly if you are interested. And I'm on Instagram at business_team_6_official. I would love to get to know you. I'd love to get my VA to send you some information, my virtual assistant, so that you can come to cash flow. And I would love to see you achieve your goals and dreams for this year. So thank you very much for coming to join for the reading. It's always a great pleasure. I'd love to see you on YouTube and on Instagram. Have a great day today, and I'm going to leave you to go out and work on those goals so that you can achieve everything that you want to achieve this year, which I know is possible if you do the right things in the right way and surround yourself with great people. And I'm very happy to be in that circle now. So I'll see you all next time, and have a wonderful day.